So, given the fact that I've been disappointed with Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi, and Spider-Man No Way Home, it's not really surprising to me that I am also disappointed with this film. Still, I went into the movie theater with an open mind. I didn't really let my opinions on the previous films affect this one. And aside from the teaser trailer, I didn't really watch any promotional content, so I had no real expectations for this film. I didn't really have much to go on except for what I saw in the teaser trailer, and trailers can often be misleading, like the way you see the Hulk in the Infinity War trailer, but then you actually watch Avengers Infinity War and Hulk isn't really in it except for like the first few minutes, but he isn't in the battle for Wakanda or the battle at Wakanda. There is no Hulk. So trailers can definitely be misleading, so I didn't know what the story was going to be exactly. I didn't know who the villain was going to be, like what was going to be the plot of the film. I didn't know any of that. What I really did not expect is for Scarlet Witch to be the villain of this film. Now, I have not watched WandaVision, so I don't know how that impacts this film. If there's any information in there that I do not have that is connected to this film, but I did not expect her to be the villain. And I'm completely fine with Scarlet Witch being the villain. What I was not okay with is that they turned Wanda into a delusional person who's all in her feelings and will do anything it takes to make herself feel better. Scarlet Witch also felt extremely overpowered. Like, the Scarlet Witch now could have taken out everybody in Infinity War and Endgame alone. She solos all of Endgame and all of Infinity War. It's insane. But from what I've read or from what other people have told me, Doctor Strange is actually more powerful than Scarlet Witch is. I don't know the validity of that. I've said it many times. I do not read comics, but she just felt overpowered. Now, they might have touched on that in WandaVision. Again, I have not watched it, so I don't know. I'll probably get to it at some point. But she just felt way too overpowered. And I honestly think they're gonna write themselves into a wall, because when you make someone that powerful, that means like the next villain has to be even more powerful than that. So it's gonna get kind of ridiculous and kind of like crazy and hard to fathom, and it may even get inconsistent and not make any sense. I don't know if that's just my prediction, but yeah, she just felt way too overpowered. They could have nerfed her down a little bit because it was just too much. So the villain of this film is an Avenger who is overpowered, delusional, and all up in her feelings. I will say though, they did a very good job at making her frightening, but it wasn't a horror film. Like they could have definitely made it that way. They could have made it a far more frightening film, but they did a pretty good job in the moments that they were trying to make Scarlet Witch scary. They did a very good job at that. But moving on from that, it felt way more Madness than Multiverse. Like the entire time they were just traveling throughout the multiverse was just them trying to get away from Wanda, who's overpowered, delusional, and emotional. However, they do use the multiverse as a means of introducing new characters and for setting up roles for old or existing characters in future films. At least that's what I think it'll be. I don't know. So Professor X is in there, Mr. Fantastic is in there. I don't know if it's Captain Britain, like whatever she is, like the British version of Captain America, who's played by Peggy or whatever. And then I think she was Carol Danvers' friend in Captain Marvel. I can't remember, but I think it's the same person. But anyway, she is now Captain Marvel, at least in that universe. They also have a guy from Inhumans, which I don't really know anything about. I just remember them saying they were going to make a movie or a TV show about it. So they have one guy from Inhumans, and all these people make up the Illuminati. Now, I don't know if this is going to have a role in the entire multiverse, like if I think it's Universe 616, the one that our Avengers are from. I don't know if they're going to have their own Illuminati, or if that Illuminati is only specific to that universe. I'm not entirely sure. I'm imagining that the universe that our Avengers are from will also have some form of an Illuminati. I don't know, but I think they just introduced that concept into the multiverse. And they use the multiverse as a means of introducing that without having to have a film specifically designated for that. But other than that, the multiverse didn't really have much of a role. It didn't really have much of a purpose outside of them just trying to get away from Wanda Maximoff, and Wanda Maximoff Scarlet Witch trying to find a universe in which her made-up children, which may be in WandaVision, I don't know, in which her made-up children are alive and she can go and I don't know, take over the body of whoever Wanda is in that universe, or kill her off or whatever, and kind of just take their place so that she can make herself happy. Damn the consequences, right? Then you sprinkle in some scary moments with Scarlet Witch and some visually appealing moments with Doctor Strange magic, and I think one fight scene or two, and that's the movie in a nutshell. Like, it's nothing really special. It was extremely disappointing. In the first act of the film, I actually had hopes because it was intriguing. It was different. I like watching fights that had nothing to do with like a physical confrontation. It was more mystical, it was more magical, and it was interesting. So I had very high hopes, and I was very intrigued, and I was very enthralled and engaged in the first act of the film. But after it became about Wanda and her being delusional and overpowered and emotional and just trying to get her way, damn the consequences of the entire multiverse, when it got to that part and them just using the multiverse to run away from her, like, yeah, this movie just went from kind of intriguing to it just plummeted all the way down. But I know some people will be satisfied just from seeing Mr. Fantastic and Professor Xavier, and I don't know what the guy's name from the Inhumans was, and the new Captain Marvel and Captain Britain or whatever the fuck her name is. I think what I loved about the movie the most is just like all the Marvel movies, or at least most of them, it's just visually satisfying. Like it's a visual masterpiece every single time, and at least it wasn't dragged on. Like the movie wasn't 3 hours or 2.5 hours. It was short and sweet, more or less, so they got right to it. So even though I didn't really care for the plot, at least it wasn't dragged out, because that's things that movies do so often. Like, you already have a bad film, you don't need a very long bad film. And yeah, I'm gonna cut it off right there. Like, I'd like to say more, but I'm still recovering. I was sick a few days ago, and I'm almost 100% it was COVID. So yeah, I'm still recovering and still feeling a bit congested. So let me know what you think of Doctor Strange 2, if you agree with me or if you have a different opinion. Hit that like button, it does help me a lot. Subscribe if you have not already, and I will catch you in the next video next Friday. See you then. Bye bye.